A bipartisan Senate report is revealing new details about that January 6th attack on the Capitol.
Yeah, what it shows is a large intelligence breakdown, a lack of planning, and a failed response. Now, according to the report, federal intelligence agencies were made aware about the potential for a violent storming of the Capitol in the days and weeks leading up to January 6th. U.S. Capitol Police intelligence officials also gathered information that pro-Trump extremists were making violent threats online, but that information was not widely conveyed to law enforcement officials at the ground level, and in part led to officers on the ground being unprepared for when things turned violent. You just saw.
Police officers were put, as I said, in an impossible position.
Right.
They didn't have adequate training. They didn't have adequate equipment. They didn't have adequate barriers. They didn't have adequate communication.
The report drafted by 2 Senate committees after months of interviews and public hearings involving intelligence and law enforcement officials. Meanwhile, Michigan Senator Gary Peters, who leads the Senate Committee on Homeland Security, spoke with our Aaron Parsegian today about what he hopes comes from this report.
We found a number of troubling things as a result of our investigation that need to be rectified quickly.
A bipartisan Senate investigation into what allowed a violent breach of the U.S. Capitol to occur, ending with recommendations for how to prevent it from happening again.
And I want to be clear, the rank and file officers that were out there defending the Capitol, who were subjected to extremely violent attacks against them, were heroic, and we need to applaud their efforts. But clearly, this was a failure of leadership. This is a failure of the kind of planning necessary to prepare for an attack of the magnitude of what we saw on January 6th.
Senator Gary Peters says at least 20 of the 60-plus recommendations, including better training, communication, and interpretation of intelligence, can be implemented quickly. The scope of the Senate report is on security and intelligence failures, but it does not look into why a group of pro-Trump extremists stormed the Capitol and what drove them to act. Democrats argue this new report strengthens the argument to establish an independent January 6th commission.
That can do a more in-depth analysis, not just of what happened on the day of the attack on January 6th, but also look at what motivated groups of individuals to come here with such a hostile intent. What was behind all of that occurring? Certainly, as we looked at the information that was out there that the intelligence groups were looking at, it was pretty clear that folks were motivated because of the false claims made by then President Trump about the election. But there certainly needs to be further analysis into that. And that's why I fully support a commission.
And while that remains up in the air, Peters says his committee will continue to look into the rise in domestic terrorism and anti-government extremism.
This is an incredibly important first step to make sure that the Capitol is as secure as possible so that we don't see the events of January 6th ever occur again. But there are certainly other very big issues relating to our democracy and what would possibly motivate folks to engage in such violent behavior. But that's something that will hopefully continue to be examined in the future.
For Fox 17 News, I'm Aaron Parsegian.
Well, meanwhile, in a statement, Capitol Police say while it was aware of a large demonstration on the grounds, intelligence did not reveal it would become a large-scale attack on the Capitol building. Contrary to the Senate investigation report, the police agency says it did not receive, quote, actionable intelligence about such an attack. To date, more than 460 people have been arrested in connection to that violence.